a stage came where we were not able to move at all. I said, let's shed all our equipment, all other anything else, and just take ammunition and your weapon. Leave it here. Should we be still remain alive, we'll come back and collect it. But literally crawling on our elbows, knees, taking this ammunition and this thing. Somehow at 5 o'clock in the morning, when the sun was rising,
Mm.
I reached the top. And this top was barely 250 meters away from when enemy was already there with his heavy machine gun, which was firing at me previous evening.
Oh, wow. So they were still there or didn't see you
This,
coming?
no, they didn't. Somehow, I approached that top in such a manner, not realizing that they are already on top, to be very frank.
Hmm.
But I reached, it's a destiny. It
Right.
took me barely 250 meters, but at a higher, it is like a knuckle. So now, when to open fire? My light machine gun commander says, "Shall I open fire straight away?" I said, "No. We are still unknown to the enemy.
Mm.
So let's cut some ice, get to some trench kind of a thing where we can sit down and take aim.
Mm.
It's not just like that." For about next 1 hour, we were slowly, silently cutting ice, removing snow, making some pit. Because at that place, even the snow blizzard was 120 kilometers an hour.
Mm.
Temperature, as I said, 50 to 60 minus degrees. We are without food. There we had one Grad P single barrel Grad P. It is a artillery equipment which fires one round, or we could carry, because that weighs 32 pounds. So with what difficulty, we literally dragging it on snow. We took it there. So when I asked the NCO in charge, I said, "Now you're set. Now you take the aim at the camp." The biggest tragedy of that moment was, he says, "I don't know how to fire." I said, "Yeah, how can it happen?" He says, "साहब वो मैन पावर का शॉर्टेज है और मैं तो आई एम सो एंड सो बाय ट्रेड. आई वाज सेंट इन रिप्लेसमेंट की भी 3 महीने पूरे करके वापस आ जाना."
Oh.
That was the biggest, at that moment you can't tell your man. You say, I said, "Yeah, this is treacherous." Anyway,
Right.
uh, I've been an instructor in weapons. I had carried 6 mortars of 84 rocket launcher. So one of the role that we fire, that is in air burst role. I had only 6 rounds and no
Mm.
replacement was expected. So the Jawan who is supposed to be actual holding that equipment, I said, "No, I'll fire it myself, because
Okay.
I can't afford to lose 1 round if you take a wrong aim, if you don't fire for effect." I
Right.
said, "Don't worry, I've been instructor, I've been teaching Army, Navy, Air Force, officers, Jawan, everybody in infantry school." So in that combat is the first round that I fired myself, was of 84 rocket. So now the real battle starts.
Mm.
A real battle starts. I am without any communication with my headquarter. There is nothing that my headquarter can do for me, because anything, I told my commander, I said, "So don't promise." He says, "Tomorrow I'll put the whole Indian army behind me." I said, "So don't promise me this. I know you'll go back trying to find troops. Even if you manage some, the equipment is not there. So I know before 7 days, nobody can come.
Okay.
There are no direction from you because I am not in communication with you. Even if you tell me something, it is of no consequence because the required logistic support, equipment, ammunition is not there. So it is all by myself that I have to perform and excel, because it is a national challenge.
Right.
In fact, I'm proud to say that in my investiture ceremony, most outstanding generals of Indian Army. Lieutenant General M.L. Chibber, he was another army commander, and General A.K. Handu. He took over from General Chibber when he retired. Both of them were there in the investiture ceremony by Prime Minister during my investiture. And General Chibber, he came searching for me. Locating me, he took me by the hand and he took me to General Handu. He says, Ashok, his first name was Ashok. Ashok, meet the boy who saved Siachen for the country that day.
Wow.
It was the biggest challenge that I faced, and the compliments I am getting from these two most outstanding generals of the Indian Army. Since I was a little higher than their location, the small arms fire, that is rifles, light machine gun, heavy machine gun, which was not very effective on me. They were firing all over. And the heavy mortars opened up.
Okay.
And the heavy mortars, they pounced me for 6 days continuously. Moment there is a bit of visibility, the artillery fire will come. And it'll come in huge strength, literally pestering the whole area. Moment there was a visibility, they used to be attacked from their side, pouncing grenades on me and crawling right up to my location. Since I was at a little higher place, my fire was more effective on them.
Right.
And like me, they were also at the challenge of manpower. So a very limited number of people are there. So it is a desperate fight from both sides. Absolutely like paupers, there's nothing available from their side in terms of replacement. And mera to it is totally ruled out. When the fight was going on, second day, a message was relayed to me, where the co-commander himself, Lieutenant P.N. Hoon, he had dictated his order directly addressed to Major M.S. Daya. And I got this copy with me of that. I call it the ultimate order.
Wow.
It is written in Tibetan and Roman. It was read out to me, and he says, this is from Lieutenant P.N. Hoon, Co-Commander 15 Corps, to Major M.S. Daya, Delta Company Commander. You've done a wonderful job. I'm proud of you. The enemy morale is falling. And lastly, he says that under no circumstances you will fall back. Take this order is you will fight from here, last man, last round. So in the history of Indian Army, such kind of direct executive orders from the highest authority in the area are very rare to give, because the situation was so extreme. It was a national issue. So we continued there for 6 days. And during these 6 days, not a morsel was eaten by us. We never slept.
Wow.
Because fear in itself is such a thing that it makes you forget everything. No sleep, no food, at about 19,000 feet of height, minus 60-degree temperature, out in the open, 120 kilometers of snow blizzard. My Subedar Saab getting jittery. He tell me, sir, I got small children. I said, don't worry. I can assure you one thing, that I'll not leave your dead body here if I'm alive. You can rest. You can be at one place. I was the one who was moving up and down, because my 15 men were at 3 different places.
Yeah.
Because place where I was sitting was barely 35 meters in width. And that was a saving grace, because the minimum range correction in artillery is 50 meters. So the rounds were falling on either side of me. So there must have been hundreds of shells that have fallen. But by God's grace, none landed at my position. It was as if Buddha himself was protecting us.
Yeah, seems like it. 6 days without food. You must have had a lot of difficult conversations with your men. Was there a moment where you felt that this is it? I don't think we'll make it.
Never. You see why? Because firstly, I said fear in human psyche is a factor which replaces, it undermines, it dilutes all other aspects of your physical existence. Number one. Second thing is that since my men were located at three different places, I was continuously moving up and down, motivating them. And I told him only one thing: look, I can't guarantee that we will survive here. But if we fall into their hands, the end will be much more worse that you can even imagine.
Right.
So come what may, we'll fight to the, we will go down fighting. And slowly, they started pulling in people who could replace us. So we were replaced. And despite all these injuries, we had to walk back and change door during bad hours of visibility where the enemy could not interfere and things like that. So we came back despite being in my own location, which I had left behind. For next 2 days, nothing that I've forgotten the taste of food. So we were thereafter airlifted, taken to GH Leh. And for next 48 hours, we were continuously in IV fluid.
Right.
The body had reduced. I had lost 35 kg weight in 6 days.
Oh my God.
I was barely a skeleton. When I was airlifted and brought back, nobody could recognize that I am same Major Meher Singh Daya. You see, all 15 of us were frostbitten. Frostbitten so bad that there were 9 amputation cases.
Wow.
And the worst amputation case was of Haldar Rampal of village Loha Khanakhurd, Tehsil Shahpur, district Jaipur. He was from 14 Grenadiers. After 37 years, I remember his particulars. His both the legs were amputated. One, a complete toe was removed, and another just below the knee. I took my family to meet him when he was shifted to Army Hospital, where the final operation was was done. And I happened to tell my son, who was just about 10 years or so, about 8 years. I said, I'm alive today because of these men. I was surprised. Rampal lying with both legs amputated. He smiles. He says, "No, beta, we are alive because of your father." So after 1 month of putting in oxygen chamber in GH Leh, then we were shifted to command hospital for more treatment, more rest. As I said, it took almost 1 year to recoup. That is how it happened. We are still in touch. We talk about those days, and that is how. And thereafter, once this initiative was blunted, then the Pakis they couldn't sustain there.